There, YouTube. This is Michael with Zen Tech Tutorials again. This week I'm going to be going over the Yammer Admin Center. I'm also going to be touching on a brief overview, at least of how I interpret of what Yammer is and how it kind of functions. Um, Yammer, and it's kind of bad to equate it to this because it can be a turnoff for some people, but it's almost like an intra-organizational Facebook. The bad word there that companies don't like being Facebook. But it's not as open as Facebook is. Nobody can join your Yammer network that's not or that's outside of your organization without a direct invite. Um, and within that, only people with domains that are within your Office 360 within your Office 365 tenant can access Yammer. It can be seen as more of a live forum-based collaboration tool. You can also have certain groups in there, say you have a group for HR, for accounting, maybe you're working on different projects, maybe you're working on something that's, kind of meant to be a secret for the time being, and you have a separate project for that. You can have a Yammer group, and you can set it so nobody can join that Yammer group without being invited, so only the people that you want to know about it know about it. Um, I know a lot of people think that, oh, you can just use things like team sites and things like that within SharePoint for collaboration, but you get more of uh, a live collaboration tool without it looking messy. You get more user feedback, and I see a lot of times companies will actually push out Yammer first, and then use Yammer as kind of a tool to advertise the other services. Do different Q&A things, do different polls, video training links, things like that. But that aside, I'm going to get to the Yammer Admin Center. So when you first come here, it's not going to show up here because I'm already logged in, um, but it's going to give you an area to join Yammer. Once you do that for the first time, you do the invite, then there will be, on that same join page, there will be a login link, and you just log in with your regular Office 365 account. So I'm just going to kind of briefly go over everything in the admin center here. So this is basically just getting started with the Yammer Enterprise account. If you have a Yammer Basic account, it's not going to look like this. Yammer Basic is a separate thing. You can only get Yammer Enterprise with an Office 365 subscription. Yammer Network activated. You see that's done. Update company logo. Add users to their network. Pretty self-explanatory. If I go to assign a usage policy, basically I can, it's basically your own EULA for Yammer, basically. Oh, and also another thing, this online now thing, that is basically, and once again, even more so like Facebook, that's the live chat for Yammer, which understandably can be pretty much overshadowed if you're running Skype for Business. But if you're not, for whatever reason, it's there. Um, and then I can display the policy in the sidebar. And then I can require users to accept it before they actually can join the Yammer network. So I'm going to go back to success up top here. All right, so that's the usage policy, join the Office 365 network. It's basically the same thing as when you're first signing up, it's just for additional users, and then write a welcome message. Pretty self-explanatory. Configuration, let me just go down this list here. Um, configuration basically is all the basic settings here. By the way, I don't really care about showing you guys this information because I don't really use Yammer on this tenant. This isn't the test tenant. This is the same tenant I was using last week, I believe. And the week before, no, last week when I was doing Intune. But because this has more of the features on it. But basically, I can go through and show what each user is going to receive by email, whether it's a daily or weekly digest of the group messages. You may want to do weekly, um, because you may not want users getting hit with emails every single day with Yammer information. Um, my job uses Yammer. I can't show you that, but we do weekly emails. I think I usually get them on like Saturdays or something, just so that way people aren't getting spammed every single day with Yammer updates. Um, and then you can require people to confirm their post by email before posting. I think that's more so of a way to make sure it's not, in API or something like that, doing the posts. And then these are just features you can enable or disable: charts, translation, third-party applications, and file and image attachments. All these settings, by the way, are what's default. This is my first time back in the Yammer Admin Center in about 3 months. I haven't changed anything in here. So if I go to design, I believe this is where I was talking about. Right, so I can do these colors here, and this is that upload network logo piece, which I believe will appear up here in the top bar right next to the words Yammer, and the notifications sign here. Um, and then also you can have um, different images that you have, different logo emails, masthead emails, or masthead images. So you can really customize that and kind of set that up how you want to. Admins section over here, this will go ahead and let me choose, if I have a large organization, I have a lot of people, I may not be able to administer Yammer by myself, so I set other admins in here, so that way they can do that for me. That's pretty much all there is to it. Usage policy, I was already on. This is just when you're actually setting the usage policy. I just explained that like 2 minutes ago. External networks. So, over here. Um, so external networks can be created by any member, just being any standard user, or by only admins. That will basically be what I was talking about before, where you can only invite, or where external people can only join your network if they're given an invite. This is where you set that up. Depending on how much of a tight ship you run, you may want to do only admins. You may not want the average Joe Schmo being able to set up networks and invite his friends and things like that. Sidebar on that, to join a Yammer network, you have to have an Office 365 business account that has a Yammer license. You can't use your Gmail, you can't use your Outlook.com, you can't do any of that. And then the options here, admin approval to join other companies' external networks, disable the related external networks directory, and then disable the our external networks directory and remove the external networks link in the networks menu. And I mean, that's basically just configuring your external network settings, not too much else to that. Network migration. So this will take a minute to load. So these network migrations, basically, this is if you want to migrate other Yammer Enterprise or other Yammer Basic accounts to this one, for domains that are not registered on here. These are those. So invite users, pretty self-explanatory here. This is just, inviting other people in your company to Yammer. You can do up to 5 at a time here. Invite guests, pretty self-explanatory here. Once again, this is inviting. No, this is kind of confusing here. It is to invite people who do not have an email enter their emails here. Once again, that's the thing I mentioned. It's talking about if the person you're inviting doesn't have an email within your company. Like I said, it still has to be a 365 account on an external tenant. I am pretty sure it has to have a Yammer license attached to that external account. Not 100% sure on that one though. Don't have really time to test that, so you might just want to take a look at that or see if you test that yourself. Remove users, pretty obvious. This is just, somebody gets termed, somebody leaves the company, I want to take them off the network. Um, Account activity. This probably won't show too much. Yeah. So this is basically just activity for any users that I search. Not too much on here for me since I'm barely on here. While I'm at it, I'm just gonna. Oh, thought that was my phone. All right, so block users. Pretty obvious here. This is just people that I don't, um, inside or outside my network. I can go ahead and block people from creating Yammer accounts. Bounced emails. This is basically um, in conjunction with the daily or the weekly Yammer notifications being sent out to users. This will tell me if any of them are bouncing back, so I can take those people off of the list. Bulk update users is kind of like when you're bulk updating users in the active users page. It's just easier than updating one person at a time. All the options are pretty self-explanatory. Um, it even has a lot of the same options. So directory integration, I have already done on the side, on the Office 365 side. This some of these options were if maybe you're just using Yammer and you're not doing anything else, then you can go ahead and you can enable the directory integration here. Export users is just exporting um, all users or a certain date range of users to a CSV. Profile field is basically, when you go into a Yammer profile, once again, it's got a whole bunch of things in there. It's not just like your Office 365 profile. It's an intra-organizational social network in every right. It has all these options here. Work phone, mobile phone, and this is personal Skype. This isn't Skype for business. This is referencing, your personal Skype free account, your free Skype account just from Skype.com. Um, and everything here, it's kind of a mash of Facebook and LinkedIn, I guess, if you want to think about it like that. The professionalism of LinkedIn with the social capabilities of Facebook. Content and security. So monitor keywords. This has a wide variety of uses. The most or the biggest one that I can see for something like this is you have a project going on that's meant to be kept quiet, and you want to make sure people aren't talking about it. That it's not getting out to the wrong people. You can put in those keywords. You can look for just um, you know, if you're using this as a tool to push out the other services, you can use this to try to look for trends, maybe things that people are asking a lot of questions about. If everybody has the same question, then you can do different trainings or different video links to answer those questions and kind of get all that together. Um, this can really be, or I mean, this can really be used for almost any imaginable purpose. So there's a lot there. Security settings. There we go. Security settings. This is it's got some of the abilities of ADFS without actually implementing ADFS. I have ADFS on this tenant, but it's not in conjunction to this. I can just say directly what IP ranges are allowed to access my Yammer tenant. Maybe I don't want people accessing Yammer from home. Maybe I don't want them accessing it anywhere else unless they have a VPN, direct access, or they're actually on site. Um, So now I can go ahead and say, what happens if somebody tries to log in to an application from outside the IP range? I can either allow the login, which I don't know, just to me that seems moot then, because then what's the point of putting the IP ranges? You can deny the login, which, like it says here, will disable all iPhone, Android, and Windows Phone applications for all users. I'm assuming unless they're on the internal company Wi-Fi. And then password policies, which you'll recognize some of this information, the password information from when I did Intune last week. And then I can, say, I set these password requirements. Say somebody's password isn't, doesn't meet these requirements, then they'll immediately have to change their password. Um, and now what I can do is for the external messaging, I can go ahead and, if people are sending external emails to Yammer, I can enforce my exchange online transport rules, which you may want to do. It may just make things easier. Enforce Office 365 identity in Yammer. Basically, that's the whole carrying the password sync and the ADFS over from Office 365 into Yammer. Export data. So this is basically the same field as when I wanted to export the users list. I'm just exporting the data. Emails, attachments, pictures, basically everything that was in the profile fields would get exported in the export data field. So move on to data retention. Basically, this is just a matter of deleting information. Hard delete, it's saying it's recommended because you may end up deleting sensitive data that you don't want people to see. Me personally, I'm not going to recommend either one of them. I'm just going to say take your pick basically and kind of consider by and large what you plan on putting on Yammer. If you just intend to use it as general training videos, general support for users, just a general thing, then you may want to do soft delete because maybe somebody deletes something by accident and, maybe, I don't know, a video link or a Yammer group gets deleted by accident. You don't want to have to recreate that whole thing. So you would want to do a soft delete so you can just restore that. On the other hand, if you're dealing with highly sensitive data internally for Yammer, you may want to do a hard delete. So you know what? If you lost the data, then you need to bite it, you need to get it back, or you need to recreate it, because you don't want to have the risk of that sensitive data. If you delete something on purpose, you don't want to have a risk of that getting pulled back. For my own purposes, because once again, I'm just doing this for testing, I'm actually going to set this to soft delete. But that's just me. Once again, kind of take into account what kind of information you intend to deal with. Where was that? All right, content mode. As soon as this loads, sorry. All right, so basically, content mode kind of explains exactly what private content mode is here. Basically, that you'll see private messages between people and posts in private groups that you are a member of. And basically, this can be seen as sort of a legal gray line, or maybe it's completely over the legal line, depending on what kind of company you're running and what your legal requirements are. But basically, I mean, I could see how this, because you're basically saying here, as an admin, you can see posts from other groups and things like that you're not a part of, which can sort of be seen as an infringement of privacy, although not really, considering it's your Yammer network to start with. But just take the words here. Don't do that unless you have a legal reason where you need to be able to view everything. Otherwise, even if it's not a legal issue, you're gonna, I mean, I can see how that can create trust issues and things like that within the organization against the admin, so just something to keep in mind. And then the analytics dashboard, and this is really the last piece I'm going to show here. So obviously you're not going to see anything here because I don't use Yammer. Once again, this is a test tenant. But this is basically Yammer usage, how many people are on Yammer, how many messages have been sent, groups created, and how people are accessing your network. I've only accessed it through the web. There is a Yammer app for iPhone and Android, I know for sure. I can't see why there wouldn't be one for the Windows Phone, considering Yammer, Microsoft, same thing. But I only access it through the web. The only thing I've done on Yammer with my phone is my regular job. And then people are using these clients as a primary mobile clients. Kind of goes in conjunction with this. If I actually had a mobile device, then my iPhone would show up here. But that's really about it for Yammer. as always, I'll be putting this up on LinkedIn. Let me know what you guys think. Um, Next week, I'm probably going to do SharePoint, and I don't know what I'm going to do after that. I'm going to have to figure that out. But let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys next week.